habis cover dua-dua subtopik ni lah for today. Wait, is it start recording? Okay. Okay, so yesterday we learned about forces, which is magnetic force on 3 cases. So first we learn about, let's recap a little bit. So first we learn about the force on a moving charged particle in a uniform magnetic field. And this is the formula to find that force on a moving charge. And then we also learn about forces on force on a current carrying conductor in a uniform magnetic field. So this will be the formula to find that force. And then last one, we learn about forces between 2 parallel current carrying conductors. And then we also learn about how to determine the direction of the force. So kita gunakan right hand rule, okay, di mana our finger will represent which direction. So finger kita akan represent what direction? Ada sesiapa yang ingat lagi?
Direction of current.
Okay, direction of current ataupun velocity, right? So depends pada case lah. If we are talking about charge, maksudnya charge ni dia akan ada velocity. If we're talking about conductor, so throughout the conductor we have the current. So your finger here will represent the direction of the current or velocity. And then your palm will be the direction of what? Your palm.
Magnetic field.
Magnetic field.
Magnetic field. So palm, magnetic field, and then your thumb, ibu jari kamu, will be the direction of
current.
Force.
current? No.
Force.
Force. Okay, thumb always force, and then finger yang punya jari ni will be the velocity ataupun current, depends kepada situation, and then your palm, okay, tapak tangan will be the direction of the magnetic field. Okay, so kamu kena sentiasa ingat 3 benda ni, dan sebab kita akan gunakan the same rule dalam chapter 5 nanti. Okay. So today we are going to look at torque on a coil. So kita akan apply the concept of magnetism on a coil. Okay. So here, Miss akan lukis dekat sini. Actually apa yang ada dalam nota kamu tu benda yang sama, but Miss akan lukis dengan lebih jelas lah di sini. Okay. So here we consider a coil. So this is a coil, a rectangular coil. Coil ni basically is just a loop of wire. Okay, loop of wire. So wire tu kita gulung banyak kali, lilit dia banyak kali. So jadilah dia sebagai coil. So when we have a coil and then we place the coil in a uniform magnetic field. So macam mana kita mau dapatkan uniform magnetic field? Kita letakkan between permanent magnet. Okay, we have magnet of north and south pole here. So the direction of the magnetic field adalah daripada north ke south. So kita akan ada uniform direction, uniform magnetic field here in between. Okay, in between this magnet. Okay, tapi Miss lukis satu je lah sebab nama nanti dia overlap. But the direction will be from the north to the south. And this is the uniform magnetic field. Okay, so when we place the coil inside the uniform magnetic field and then we connect this coil with the battery. So kita connect coil ni. Let's connect the coil with a battery. So when the circuit is complete, okay, obviously akan ada current flow throughout the coil and then back to the battery. So untuk case ni, kalau dekat sini positif, maksudnya current will be going into this direction. So this will be the direction of the current. Okay, so we learned before, apabila kita letakkan conductor, okay, dalam 4.4, 4.4 subtopic 4.4, okay, apabila kita letakkan conductor di dalam uniform magnetic field dan conductor tu carry a current, okay, we know that that conductor will have a force, okay, will experience a force. Okay, conductor tu dia ada current and then kita letak dalam uniform magnetic field and then it will experience a force. Okay, so basically coil ni sama aja, dia macam conductor. But now, since coil ni, dia macam ni kan, dia rectangular, so the direction of current here is different from here. So maksudnya dia ada direction dia berbeza lah sebab it goes around the loop. Okay, so we will look at each side of the coil. So coil dekat sini, at this part, okay, let me label first PQRS. So at this part, PQ, we want to know what is the direction of the force. What is the direction of the force here? Okay, so dekat sini kita tengok magnetic field ni is going from north to south. So direction of magnetic field macam ni. And then direction of the current is going upward. So direction of current is going upward. So which way is the direction of the force? Okay, use your right hand to determine direction of the force. Okay, cuba buat and then find out which way is the direction of the force.
Anti-clockwise kan?
Anti-clockwise. Kalau dalam case ni, if kita punya direction kan, kita perlu, satu lagi kan kita perlu tentukan direction of the force. So dua direction yang kita sudah dapat tahu tu, kalau satu dia pergi kanan, satu pergi atas, so the direction yang tinggal, any direction lah, any vector, dia either into the page ataupun out of the page. So dua benda tu je. Kalau satu sudah pergi kanan, satu pergi atas, so yang satu lagi either into the page or out of the page. So sekarang ni, what is the direction of the force?
Into the page.
Into the page.
Into the page, right? So kalau kamu gunakan your right hand rule, you will find out that the direction of the force will be into the page. Okay, that one untuk part ni, PQ. So this one for PQ. And then kita tengok the other side for RS, direction of the magnetic field is going to the right. And then current is going downward. And then which way is the direction of the force?
Out the page comes. Out the page.
Yes. It will be out of the page. Out of the page. So from here you can see, kalau kita flip, okay, bukan flip lah, kalau kita tukar direction of the current into the opposite direction, that direction of the force also will be opposite direction. So kalau dekat sini dia into the page and then you tukar that direction of current, so F pun akan tukar juga. So it will be out of the page. And then consider that the direction of the magnetic field is constant lah untuk kedua-dua case. Okay, so now kita sudah dapat tahu the direction of the force at this side and at this side. And then we want to know what happened to this coil. kamu mesti sudah dapat idea. Okay, apabila kita letak coil dekat dalam uniform magnetic field and then kita connect dengan battery, coil ni dia akan rotate. Okay, we know that it will rotate. Tu yang kamu tahulah. But now we want to determine which way it will rotate. Adakah clockwise ataupun anti-clockwise. So how do we determine this? Okay, so we consider this one. This is the plane of the coil lah. So part dekat sini tadi PQ I think. Yes, PQ. This one RS. And then dekat part PQ, F will be into the page, right? Maksudnya kita akan tolak, akan ada force yang tolak part ni untuk dia masuk ke dalam. It will be into the page. Maksudnya, the force here is into the page. And then, dekat part dekat sini, force will be out of the page. Okay, force will be out of the page. Maksudnya akan ada force yang akan tarik conductor part yang dekat sini ke atas. So here will be out of the page. Okay, so from here you can see that this plane of the coil akan rotate. So sebab force dekat sini angkat dia kan, and then force dekat sini tolak dia ke bawah. So maksudnya this plane will rotate anti-clockwise. Consider this one is the pivot point lah. Dia ada pivot point di sini at the center. And then this plane will rotate anti-clockwise. Boleh nampak macam mana dia rotate anti-clockwise?
Boleh, Miss.
Okay, so depends kepada direction of the current. Okay, so kalau contohnya, tadi direction of current macam ni kan. Contoh kalau kita flipkan, now direction of the current will be from here to here. Okay, dia opposite sudah direction. So kalau dia opposite, benda yang kita sudah nampak tadi, kita sudah find out, dia akan jadi opposite juga. Maksudnya kalau opposite, the plane akan rotate clockwise. Okay, so apabila ada rotation, okay, when there's a rotation, there will be a torque. Okay, there will be a torque. Torque ni kita tahu dia adalah rotational force kan. So there will be a rotational force for the coil. Dan this rotational force, kita akan gunakan formula. Torque is equal to NBAI sin theta. So ni formula yang kita akan gunakan. Okay, we don't need to know how to derive the formula. Dalam nota kamu ada derivation lah daripada mana dapatnya this formula. Tapi kita tidak perlu tahu pun macam mana mau derive. And here, N adalah number of turn. So since Miss cakap tadi, coil is just a loop of wire. So kita lilit dia lah banyak kali. So maybe 200 kali. So that will be the number of turn of the coil. B will be the magnetic field. Dan magnetic field ni akan jadi uniform. And A here will be the area of the coil. So area of the coil from here to here will be the width. From here to here will be the length of the coil. So kadang-kadang soalan dia akan bagi tahu what is the length and what is the width. So you have to find out what is the area. So area senang je lah kan. It is just width times width, length. And then sometimes soalan terus mention what is the area. What is the value for the area of the coil. And then this one is the current. So angle dekat sini will be the angle between vector A. Okay, vector A and also magnetic field. Okay, mesti angle between area dan magnetic field. Bukan current ya. Okay, so macam mana kita mau tahu what is the vector for the coil. Okay. So here, wait, let me check ya. Okay, so now we want to find out what is the angle between the magnetic field and the area. Okay, let's say we have a magnetic field here going to the right, and then kita letakkan kita punya coil. So kita letakkan coil macam ni. Okay, so apabila kita letak coil macam ni adalah coil, the plane of the coil. So we can say that this coil is perpendicular to magnetic field. Okay, sebab dia 90 degree. But the area won't be 90 degree. Okay, area between magnetic field and the angle between magnetic field and area bukan 90 degree. Because the area of the plane, the vector will always be perpendicular. So vector area ni akan sentiasa 90 degree dengan plane. So daripada sini kamu boleh nampak angle of B and A will be equal to, what is the angle here?
Zero.
Zero, right? Okay, tiada angle kan between B and A. So tak kisahlah macam mana pun kamu letak plane ni, vector tu akan sentiasa 90 degree dengan plane. So this is the plane of the coil. Okay, let's say if I want to have this kind of plane. So plane ni macam ni. Dia saya ingat sikit. Tapi vector area tu akan sentiasa 90 degree juga. So contohlah, I have the magnetic field going in the same direction. So now we can see that this magnetic field and this area has a different angle. So this will be the angle of the magnetic field and the area. Okay, let's say lah, the angle between the plane and the magnetic field is, okay, Miss just letak dah, 120 degree. So maksudnya, what is the angle between B and A here? Okay, kalau dia bagi angle between plane and magnetic field adalah 120 degree. So what is the angle between B and A?
60 degree.
It will be 60 degree. So kita just tolaklah 180 minus 120. So it will be 60 degree. Okay, so usually soalan dia kamu kena baca betul-betul lah. Apa yang perpendicular dengan apa? Angle tu between which vector and which vector. But usually soalan dia tidak akan bagi terus dia tidak akan terus bagi the angle between B and A. We have to lukis dulu barulah kita boleh find out. Okay, jelas? Okay, so I assume jelas lah.
Jelas, Miss.
Jelas, Miss.
Okay.
Jelas, Miss.
Okay, from here, daripada formula ni, when the angle is equal to 90 degree, kita tahu sin 90 adalah sama dengan 1. So torque will be maximum. So torque will be maximum when angle sama dengan 90 degree. Sebab maksudnya this one adalah sama dengan 1 kan. So the value of torque will be equal to this value only. Sebab bila kita darab dengan sin angle, value tu akan berkurang. So when that angle is equal to 90 degree, the torque will be at maximum torque. Okay, okay, so that is the concept of the coil inside a magnetic field. So sekarang ni kita akan tengok the principle of a moving coil in a galvanometer. Maksudnya kita apply konsep coil tadi tu di dalam galvanometer. Okay, so galvanometer, the function is to detect current or voltage. And then dia akan ada scale macam ni, and then pointer dia start daripada kosong. So depends kepada direction of the current. Pointer ni mungkin akan point ke kanan ataupun point ke kiri. Okay, actually macam mana kita mau tahu pointer ni dia detect direction of current tu macam mana sebenarnya. So konsep coil ni, moving coil in a magnetic field, kita letak di dalam galvanometer. So basically, ni benda yang kita tidak nampak lah, ni yang dekat dalam galvanometer. Benda yang kita nampak scale dan pointer sahaja kan. So basically dekat dalam galvanometer ni kita ada permanent magnet, north and south. And then kita ada coil, so this is the coil. It's just a loop of wire. And then kita ada spring, and then this coil will be connected to the pointer. Okay, so basically, when we connect the galvanometer to a circuit, so contohnya kita connect dengan circuit, and then dia akan detect current flowing to the circuit. So sama konsep macam yang tadi, apabila ada current flow through the coil, coil tu dia akan rotate. So that rotation is actually what causes the pointer to deflect either to the right or to the left. So depends kepada direction of the current tadi. So tadi kan kalau kita punya direction of current macam ni, dia akan rotate anti-clockwise. And then kalau direction of the current terbalik pula, macam ni, dia akan rotate clockwise. That's why pointer tu dia boleh rotate either pergi kanan ataupun pergi kiri. And then apabila kita disconnect, so when we disconnect from the circuit, maksudnya tidak coil ni tidak akan ada current flowing through it. So maksudnya this pointer akan kembali ke kosong. So macam mana dia boleh kembali ke kosong? Spring ni lah function dia untuk balance, to balance the torque from the coil, so that pointer boleh kembali ke kosong ataupun pointer tu boleh stop di mana tempat yang sepatutnya. So here, if we have more current, okay, we have, let's say, if we have maybe 3 ampere current. So if we have more current, the pointer will deflect more. Deflection of the pointer tu lebih besar lah. Maksudnya the angle between the pointer will be larger. So more current maksudnya more deflection. So here, I just want to explain briefly the principle of this moving coil in a galvanometer. We don't need any calculation here actually. It's just the concept. We apply the concept of moving coil in a galvanometer. So soalan ni sebenarnya selalu ditanya dalam UPS pasal galvanometer. Dia mesti ada at least satu soalan yang dia akan tanya pasal principle of coil in a galvanometer. So ada satu benda yang paling penting kamu kena ingat. Dalam galvanometer ni, we always want to make sure that torque is at maximum. Okay, dia design galvanometer ni so that torque tu will always at maximum. So apabila dekat maximum macam yang Miss cakap tadi, angle will be always equal to 90 degree. So ni soalan yang famous selalunya ditanya dalam UPS. What is the angle between the field and the the field, the magnetic field and the area of the coil. So kamu kena ingatlah, this is the very important thing that you need to know whenever we want to explain the principle of a coil in a galvanometer. So tu just explanation ringkas saja untuk prinsip moving coil in a galvanometer. Any questions so far?
So far, no question, Miss.
Okay, so far no question. Kalau tiada soalan, kita boleh terus tengok kepada example. Okay, so basically dekat dalam nota kamu tu explanation yang sama lah yang Miss explain tadi, benda yang sama. Okay, kita tengok example 20. 20 turns rectangular coil with sides 6 cm times 4 cm is placed vertically in a uniform horizontal magnetic field of magnitude 1 Tesla. If the current flows in the coil is 5 ampere, determine the torque acting on the coil when the plane of the coil is perpendicular to the field, parallel to the field, and at 60 degree to the field. Okay, first of all, let's keluarkan information yang kita ada. So we have the number of turns here. Number of turns equal to 20. And then we have area. 6 times 4 cm square, maksudnya akan dapat 24 cm square. And then we have the magnetic field and also the current. And then first question, we want to find what is the torque when the plane of the coil. Okay, so keyword dekat sini, plane of the coil is perpendicular to the field. Okay, first of all, let's keluarkan dahulu formula untuk torque tadi, which is NBAI sin theta. Okay, first case is when the plane is perpendicular to the field. So kita lukis, this is the field, the magnetic field, and then kita letak plane tu perpendicular. Maksudnya dia macam ni. The plane is perpendicular. So yang tadi Miss sudah tunjuk, the area, the vector area will always be perpendicular to the plane. So maksudnya angle between B and A here will be equal to 0. Okay, so sin kosong akan sama dengan kosong. Tapi kita still kena substitute that value. So kita substitute je lah value ni. N sama dengan 20. B sama dengan 1. Area, okay, area here is in centimeter square. So kamu kena convert kepada meter square. So kalau convert akan dapat eksponen berapa?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. Okay, this one convert kepada meter. 24 exponent negative 4 meter square.
Oh, meters.
Okay, and then current is 5 sin 0. So sin kosong akan dapat kosong. Maksudnya apabila kita letak the coil perpendicular to the field, torque will be equal to 0. So tidak akan ada rotation. There will be no rotation when we place the coil perpendicular to the field. Okay, so next, before that, any question?
No question, Miss.
Okay, next one is when we have the plane parallel to the field. So we have the field here, and then plane tu adalah parallel, maksudnya dia macam ni lah. And then the area will always be perpendicular to the plane. Area, plane, perpendicular. So daripada sini, kita boleh nampak the magnetic field and the area, angle between them is equal to 90. Okay, angle between them is equal to 90. So just masukkan value yang sama, yang berubah hanyalah angle. Okay, torque will be equal to 0.24. And what is the unit for torque? Apa unit untuk torque?
Nm.
Nm. Newton meter. So dekat sini tadi letak unit juga. Newton meter. Okay, next one is when we have the plane of the coil at 60 degree to the field. So again, kita ada magnetic field. So magnetic field ni, I just assume it is from right to left lah. It doesn't, you can also assume it from here to here. And then plane to 60 degree to the field. Maksudnya daripada sini ke sini adalah 60 degree. So from here, ini adalah area. So what is the angle here? Angle between B and A.
120.
100?
20 degree.
30 degree. Okay, it will be 30 degree. Okay, you just tolaklah 90 tolak dengan 60. And then masukkan the same value. And then sin 30. Okay, torque will be equal to 0.12 Nm, Newton meter. Okay, make sure semua tekan kalkulator. Jangan tunggu jawapan daripada kawan je. Dan make sure semua dapat the same value here. Okay, ada soalan so far? Semua jelas?
Tiada, Miss.
Jelas, Miss.
Jelas. Okay, untuk torque ni kita ada satu sahaja formula. Ni je formula yang kita akan gunakan dan usually memang soalan memang macam ni lah, lebih kurang macam ni je selalu. Jadi tidak akan ada soalan yang lain lah. Dia either we want to find what is the torque and then yang lain dia sudah bagi, or we want to find what is the angle. Maybe salah satu ni lah, dia akan tanya salah satu unknown ni sahaja berdasarkan the formula. So you just need to know how to use the formula, and paling penting dekat sini you need to know how to determine the angle between B and A. Okay, so untuk 4.6 ni ada satu example sahaja. Example yang seterusnya is not in your syllabus actually, which is dia adalah explanation. So I will skip that one. Okay, sangat simple sahaja. Okay, this one is just the explanation of the moving coil in a galvanometer, macam yang Miss cakap, explain tadi. Okay, so kita akan masuk the next subtopic 4.7. Okay, 4.7 here. we're talking about the motion of charged particle in a magnetic field and also in an electric field. Okay. So before this, we have learned in 4.4, when we have a uniform magnetic field, any uniform magnetic field into the page, and then we place the charge. When we place, the charge will move into the magnetic field with a certain velocity. Okay, we know that what happened after this charge enter, okay, they akan form circular path. Okay, they akan follow circular path. This is what we learned in 4.4 yang semalam lah yang Miss sudah explain. Apabila ada charge moving into the magnetic field, into the uniform magnetic field, it will follow the direction, the circular path. So it will make a circular motion lah. So here, the direction of the velocity will always be perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field. The magnetic force. Okay, direction of velocity perpendicular to the direction of magnetic force. Okay, di mana disebabkan dia akan buat circular motion, so this magnetic force will be equal to centripetal force. Okay, this one Miss sudah explain semalam. Okay, and also we learn in chapter 1, okay, apabila kita ada charge, so when we have a charge moving, okay, entering a uniform electric field. So ni adalah two parallel plates, kan ada electric field lah. And it will be uniform. So electric field adalah daripada positive to negative. And then what happened when this positive charge enter the electric field? Okay, we learn this in chapter 1. Masih ingat lagi apa yang berlaku apabila dia enter the electric field? Deflect downwards. Okay, dia akan deflect. Kalau kita ada charge moving into the electric field, it will deflect. So depends kepada charge tu. Kalau dia positif, dia akan deflect kepada negative plate. So this one is what we learn. Dia akan deflect dekat sini towards the negative plate, and then dia akan leave the area of the region of electric field lah. So this is what we learn in chapter 1, and then this one is what we learned in the previous subtopic. Okay, now we want to see what happened to the charge if we place the charge in a magnetic field and electric field. Maksudnya dalam region yang sama tu kita ada dua-dua ni, ada magnetic field dan juga electric field. Okay. Okay, let's consider this one is the electric field, uniform electric field, and then ada magnetic field juga, uniform magnetic field. And then we have, I just use positive charge lah di sini. Okay, so apabila dia masuk, disebabkan kita ada electric field dan magnetic field, this charge will not deflect. Dia tidak akan deflect. Dia akan balance. Why? Okay, first kita find out dulu what is the direction of electric force. Okay, direction of electric force. Kita tahu tadi the positive charge dia akan attracted towards negative plate. So maksudnya dia punya force will be going towards the negative plate. Ni adalah electric force ya, Fe. So here we want to find out which direction is the magnetic force. So kita ada velocity going to the right, and then magnetic field into the page. So which way is the direction of the magnetic force? Okay, use your right hand rule to find out which direction is the magnetic force, FB.
Upward.
It will be going upwards. Okay, sebab jari kamu akan point towards B, and then kamu punya tapak tangan mesti di atas kertas sebab it is going into the page. And then you will find out that your thumb will pointing upwards. Okay, so from here you can see that it will be balanced. Okay, so charge ni dia tidak akan deflect sudah. Okay, dia tidak akan ada deflection sebab dia sudah ada force going downward and then force going upwards. So from here, the sum of the force will be equal to 0. Dia sudah jadi balance, maksudnya velocity akan jadi constant. So sepanjang daripada dia masuk sampai dia ke hujung, velocity dia akan jadi constant. There will be no acceleration. So here we can say that FB will be equal to FE. Magnetic force sama dengan electric force. Okay, magnetic force, formula yang kita belajar tadi semalam untuk charge adalah QVB sin theta. Okay, tetapi angle between V and B will always be 90 degree. Okay, sebab charge ni dia masuk macam ni kan, and then your magnetic field either into the page or out of the page. So either way, the angle between V and B will always be 90 degree. So kita just ignore lah sin 90 tu sebab sin 90 is 90 degree, right? So kita guna je FB is equal to QVB, and then electric force. Okay, ingat lagi what is the formula for electric force? Anyone? Formula untuk electric force.
mv square over r.
Kita ada dua kan, satu K Q1 Q2 divided by R square, this one. And then satu lagi, kita ada formula of electric force in terms of electric field. What is that formula?
mv square over r.
mv square over R. No, that one is magnetic force. Electric force, this one. Kita belajar dalam chapter 1. Lupa sudah? Ada dua tu formula. Satu this one, Coulomb's law. And then satu lagi kita ada satu formula in terms of electric field.
QE.
QE, right? Q times with electric field. This one. Okay. So this formula kita akan gunakan masuk dekat dalam ni. QE. And then this one kita boleh cancel out. So kita dapat V, velocity, dan sama dengan electric field divided by magnetic field. This one apabila the charge is inside both magnetic field and electric field. So this will be the formula that we are going to use. Okay, and then we want to find out what happened apabila charge ni kan dia masuk, dia lalu, lepas tu dia keluar. Okay, dia keluar daripada region ni. Lepas dia keluar, dia akan masuk satu region di mana kita hanya ada magnetic field sahaja. Maksudnya, wait, so this charge dia akan leave the region and then dia akan masuk satu region di mana kita hanya ada magnetic field sahaja. So now tiada sudah electric field, only magnetic field, but the magnetic field is still uniform. So apabila dia masuk this region, macam yang Miss explain tadi, dia akan follow a circular path. So bila dekat sini kita akan dapat FB akan sama dengan FC. Magnetic force is equal to centripetal force. Where we have QVB sama dengan MV square divided by R. Okay, this one adalah centripetal force, magnetic force. So from here we can cancel apa yang patut. And then kita akan dapat Q divided by M sama dengan V divided by R. Okay, so daripada sini, kita tahu V, velocity adalah sama dengan E divided by B. So kita akan substitute dia di sini. So this will be first formula, second formula, and then kita substitute to here. Dan kita akan dapat Q divided by M will be equal to E divided by BR square. Not BR square, B square R. So ni dua formula yang kita akan gunakan dalam subtopik ni. Okay, so you actually don't need to know the derivation of this. Kamu just ingat this one pun cukup sudah. Sebab dalam kamu punya learning outcome, dia tidak mention pasal derivation. You just need to know how to use the formula. So, asalkan tahu, okay, this is the formula for this subtopic, then it's all okay. Yang lain ni, derivation, tidak perlu tahu pun tidak apa. Okay, so, kami ulang balik. Apabila kita letakkan charge ke dalam electric field, ke dalam region yang ada electric field dan juga magnetic field, the charge will move in straight line. Okay, dia tidak akan deflect. There will be no deflection sebab satu, we have force that balance the charge. Sebab satu, kita ada force, electric force dan juga kita ada magnetic force. So apabila dia tiada deflection, the velocity of this charge will be constant. Apabila constant, kita boleh cakap FB, magnetic force akan sama dengan electric force. That's why kita boleh keluarkan this formula. And then selepas charge ni sudah keluar daripada region ni, and then dia masuk lagi satu region di mana kita hanya ada magnetic field sahaja. Ada satu benda saja, magnetic field. So dekat sini barulah dia akan deflect. So apabila dia deflect, dia akan follow circular path. So apabila follow circular path, maksudnya there is a circular motion. That's why bila kita keluarkan that FB, magnetic force akan sama dengan centripetal force. Dan kita akan dapat this formula. Okay, jelas so far?
Jelas, Miss.
Jelas, Miss.
Okay, so this thing here, we call this as velocity selector. Okay, velocity selector maksudnya kita akan ada magnetic field dan electric field di dalam between the plate, positive and negative plate. Okay, so now that we know what is the formula for the charged particle in magnetic field and electric field, okay, kita akan tengok example. Okay, so we will look at the example here. Example 22. Okay, given here an electron with kinetic energy of at exponent negative 7 joule passes perpendicular through a uniform magnetic field of 0.4 exponent negative 3 Tesla. It is found that the electron follow a circular path. Okay, so dalam kes ni kita hanya ada satu saja magnetic field only. Okay, calculate the radius of the circular path and also the time required for the electron to complete one revolution. Okay, kita keluarkan dahulu form information yang kita ada. We have kinetic energy. And then we have magnetic field. Okay, that's it. Dua je information yang kita ada. So first question, we want to find what is the radius. Okay, boleh keluarkan apa formula untuk radius. Okay, this one actually yang semalam punya subtopic. Someone help me to keluarkan formula untuk radius.
R equals to mv over bq.
mv over bq. Okay, mass times with velocity divided by magnetic field times with the charge. Okay, so from here, kita ada mass. We are given the mass of the electron. But we are not given the velocity. Okay, velocity kita tiada. Magnetic field kita ada. Charge pun kita ada. So, we don't have the velocity. So, how do we find this velocity?
From kinetic energy comes.
Okay, we can find it from here. So kita kena cari dahulu the velocity from the kinetic energy. Miss tulis di atas sebab takut tak muat. So kinetic energy is half mv squared. This is what we want to find. So you just masukkanlah 8 eksponen negatif 16 sama dengan half m v squared. Then you will get the velocity will be equal to
for 19 exponent 7.
4 berapa tadi? 4 point berapa?
Saya dapat 4.91.
91
19 exponent
19 4.19
Yeah.
exponent 7
7.
meter per second. Okay, don't forget we have square dekat sini ya. Okay, mostly kamu akan terlupa tu untuk square kan nanti. So semua make sure dapat 4.19 exponent 7 meter per second. So from there you just masukkan here. Okay, before masukkan that value, okay, kamu perasan dekat sini ada information yang kita dibagi adalah E divided by M. So information ni E divided by M, maksudnya charge divided by the mass. Dia sudah bagi this value. Okay, we can actually use this value terus dekat dalam formula ni. Since dalam formula ni, okay, kita ada M divided by Q, V divided by B. Kita ada M divided by Q, V divided by B. Okay, so this one kita boleh substitute with this value. Tapi disebabkan value ni adalah E ni adalah charge. So Miss guna Q lah. dia terbalik. So you just masukkan 1 over that value sahaja. Times with velocity is 4.19 divided by magnetic field. Okay, dapat berapa? Kosong point 5952 meter. Okay, if you don't want to use this value given, okay, kamu nak menggunakan value yang dibagi ni. Sebab value ni adalah Q divided by M. So kamu bolehlah juga substitute satu-satu. Mass of the electron, charge of the electron. So mass is given here. And charge is usually given in the list of constant. So always refer to that lah. In the end, kamu akan dapat jawapan yang sama juga tu. This one, so that kita tidak perlu substitute banyak benda lah dalam formula tu. Okay, semua dapat that value of radius.
Dapat, Miss.
Okay, so kalau dapat, kita tengok the next one. We want to calculate the time required for the electron to complete one revolution. So apa yang dia minta dekat sini? There's a keyword here, to complete one revolution. So maksudnya the question asks to find what value?
Period.
Value for period. Okay, the value for period. Since definition untuk period adalah the time required to complete one revolution. Okay, bukan T ya. It's not this one. We want to find the period. Okay, so semalam Miss ada explain what is the formula to find the period. Cuba tengok balik nota.
T equals to
T is equal to
2 pi r over
2 pi
v.
f
2 pi r over
V.
V.
2 pi m over bq.
Okay, kita ada dua lagi, 2 pi m over bq. So we can either use this one ataupun this one sebab ada dua formula kan. Depends kepada information yang kita ada lah. Okay, untuk formula yang pertama, kita perlukan value untuk radius and velocity which we have already. This is the radius, this is the velocity. So kita boleh gunakan this one or we can also use the second formula di mana dekat sini adalah mass. We have the value for the mass. B is the magnetic field. Kita pun ada juga, and then charge. So dua-dua formula ni kita boleh gunakan. So kita gunakan this one lah, yang paling senang. Actually dua-dua pun senang sebab we have the value already. So either way kamu akan dapat jawapan yang sama. K period will be equal to
8.925 times 10 to the power of negative 8.
925 exponent
Negative 8.
negative 8 second. Okay, thank you. Semua dapat this value.
8.925 eksponen negatif 8.
8.925 exponent negative 8. Okay. Okay, ada soalan so far?
Tiada, Miss.
Eksponen negatif 8.
Kalau tiada, can I proceed to the next example?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, let's proceed to the next example. Example 23. An electron moving at a steady speed of 0.5 exponent 6 meter per second passes between two flat parallel metal plates 2 centimeter apart with a potential difference of 100 volt between them. The electron is kept traveling in a straight line perpendicular to the electric field between the plates by applying a magnetic field perpendicular to the electron's path and to the electric field. Calculate the intensity of the electric field and the magnetic field needed. Okay, so dekat sini dia panjang sikit kan. So basically apa yang dia bagi tahu adalah we have electron moving at a constant speed and it passes between two metal plates. Okay, kita lukis dahulu. We have two metal plates that is 2 centimeter apart. So the metal plate is 2 centimeter apart, and given the potential difference between this plate is 100 volt. Okay, we are given potential difference 100 volt. Then we have electron, right? So electron is kept traveling in a straight line. So they akan travel straight line perpendicular to the electric field. So electric field, okay, let's just assume macam ni lah. From positive to negative. So dia akan perpendicular to the electric field. So ni velocity, this is electric field. And then we apply a magnetic field perpendicular to the electron path as well. So kita ada magnetic field pula. So case yang sama. So magnetic field ni doesn't matter. Into the page, out of the page, dia still akan perpendicular to the velocity of the electron. Okay, now we want to calculate the intensity of electric field. Basically what we want is to find the value for E, electric field. So how do we find this value for electric field? Can someone give me any idea how to find this electric field? Anyone?
Miss,
Yes.
kalau guna yang formula V equals to E over B tu boleh kata Miss?
Apa dia? Formula dia tadi?
V equals to E over B.
V is equal to E over B. Okay. So maksudnya in order to find E, we need to have the V. V dekat sini adalah velocity ya. Dia bukan potential difference. It is velocity. Actually we have the velocity. 0.5 exponent 6 meter per second. And then we need to find the value for B juga. But we are not given that B. We don't have that value for magnetic field. Di mana magnetic field ni dia tanya dekat soalan B. So maksudnya we cannot use this one. There is another formula that we can use.
Delta V over D.
Okay, this one adalah formula daripada first chapter di mana E adalah sama dengan delta V, potential difference, divided by D, the distance between the plate. Okay, ni formula daripada chapter 1 ya. Since kita sudah dibagi the potential difference and we are also given the distance between the two plates. So we can find the electric field using this formula. Just masukkan and then bahagi dengan 2 cm. Convert kepada meter and then you will get the electric field will be equal to
5 times 10 to the power 4.
5 times 10 to the power 4. For me, unit adalah volt per meter. So this one is volt, this one is meter. Okay, so next one, we want to calculate the magnetic field needed. Okay, so now that we have the value for E, and then we also have the value for V, velocity. Okay, kita boleh dapatkan value untuk magnetic field using this formula. So B akan jadi sama dengan 5 exponent 4 divided by velocity 0.5 exponent 6 sama dengan
0.01, Miss.
0.01 and then unit is Tesla. Okay, semua dapat? Is value 0.0.
Dapat, Miss.
Dapat ni.
Miss,
Yes.
yang soalan itu ba, Miss? Kan yang 100 bahagi 0.02 tuh. Tidak boleh gak jawaban dia kasih 5,000? Mesti 5 times 10 to the power 4 kan, Miss?
Boleh, tidak kisah pun kalau kamu letak dia sebagai 5,000 pun boleh. As long as betul lah. Okay, kalau kamu tidak biasa gunakan eksponen, kamu letak macam ni pun boleh, 5,000 volt per meter. As long as betul lah the value kosong tu. Okay, dalam physics, your final answer can be in any terms. Maksudnya, if you want it to be 5 micrometer boleh, 5 milli voltmeter pun boleh. Tapi yang penting betul lah. Kalau dia milli tu maksudnya dia adalah eksponen 3. 5 eksponen 3, negatif 3. Macam tu. If you want it to be 5 kilovolt, make sure that one will be eksponen 3. Okay, your final answer as long as unit betul and then that value, that decimal place at least ada 2 akan diterima.
Miss,
Salah. Yes.
yang tadi punya jawapan yang itu actually 0.5 times 10 to the power of 4.
Which one?
Yang 5,000 tu tapi dalam eksponen dia 0.5 times 10 to the power 4.
0.5 exponent 4. Macam tu.
Ya, Miss.
Oh, so kamu jawapan dekat sini salah lah kan? Okay.
Ya, Miss.
Okay, so make sure, that's why kamu kena tekan calculator. Jangan tengok jawapan yang dibagi je. So make sure betul lah. If you're not sure, you just tulislah 5,000 pun. Okay, yang penting betul. Okay, So can I proceed to the next example?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, kita tengok the last example, example 24. Okay, a beam of hydrogen ions containing isotopes, this one and this one. The beam enters a velocity selector which consists of 2.4 Tesla magnetic field and 3 exponent 5 volt per meter electric field. Ions that emerge from the velocity selector enter a region of 0.3 Tesla uniform magnetic field. After leaving the velocity selector, calculate the velocity of the ions and the radius of the semicircular path of each ion. Okay, so basically this case is when we have a velocity selector. So benda yang tadi tu, di mana kita ada two parallel plates. Where we have uniform electric field and also magnetic field. And then kita ada a beam of hydrogen ions di mana kita ada dua isotop. So this is the hydrogen ions lah, dia masuk with a velocity. Okay, given here, we have the magnetic field of this one yang dekat dalam ni 2.4 Tesla and then electric field 3 eksponen 5 volt per meter. And then selepas hydrogen ion ni, dia keluar daripada region ni, dia masuk satu region, okay, it enter another region of uniform magnetic field with this value. So there's another region here, lepas dia keluar daripada situ, and this region has a magnetic field of 0.3 Tesla. And then macam yang Miss explain tadi, this hydrogen ion, dia akan follow a circular path. Now we want to find the velocity of the ions after leaving the velocity selector. So velocity of the ion after they leave the velocity selector. This is what we want to find. Okay, so tadi Miss cakap bila charge masuk dekat dalam velocity selector, the velocity will be constant. Okay, velocity akan jadi constant. So maksudnya di sini, we can either use the formula here ataupun formula di sini to find that velocity. Okay, so untuk case ni, case di mana kita ada kedua-dua magnetic field dan electric field, okay, apa dia formula tadi yang Miss sudah tunjuk? Kita ada dua formula kan?
V
What is the
equals to
formula?
E over P.
V is equal to E over B. Electric field divided by the magnetic field. So kalau kita consider this one, electric field is here, magnetic field is this one. So you just masukkan that value divided by 2.4. And then you will get the velocity . One
1.25
exponent berapa tadi? 5 meter per second. 1.25 exponent 5 meter per second. Semua dapat?
Dapat, Miss.
dapat.
Memang eksponen 5 kan? Dia bukan eksponen 6.
Ya, Miss. Jawapan tu salah.
Jawapan tu salah, okay. So jawapan sini salah. Okay, next one. We want to calculate the radius of the semicircular path of each ion. Okay, so since kita ada dua kan ion, dua isotop dekat sini, disebabkan setiap isotop ni berbeza number of proton, so dia punya circular path akan berbeza juga. Mungkin satu macam ni, mungkin satu dia jauh lebih besar sikit lah. Radius dia akan berbeza. So we need to calculate that radius for each of the ion. Okay, so kita start dengan the first isotope. Kita ada dua proton dan satu elektron. Okay, formula untuk radius tadi apa dia?
R equals to mv over bq.
R is equal to mv over bq. So this is the formula untuk radius. Okay, for the first ion, where we have 2 electron. This one number of proton kan? Dekat atas. Kat bawah electron, right? Is it? Miss lupa sudah. 2, 1, betul lah. Okay, so since kita ada dua number of proton, so kita kena darab dengan 2. Okay, we need to times with 2 since we have number of proton is equal to 2. And then yang lain, you just masukkan value mass of the hydrogen. Apa mass of the hydrogen? Let's see the formula first. Mana ya formula? Okay, so mass of hydrogen. Sekejap ya, let me think. Okay, so kita akan gunakan the mass for the proton. Since number of proton kita yang berbeza kan. So we use this is the value for the mass of the proton 1.672 exponent negative 27 kg. Okay, where is that? Okay, so mass proton tadi 1.672 exponent negative 27 kg. And then kita masukkan 2 darab 1.672 exponent negative 27 times with velocity. Velocity adalah constant 1.25 exponent 5 divided by the magnetic field. Okay, magnetic field dekat sini adalah magnetic field at this region. Sebab dekat sini barulah dia buat circular path which is 0.3. And then darab dengan charge. So charge here, charge kita sama je elektron dengan proton. 1.6 exponent negative 9. The charge 1.6 exponent negative 19. Coulomb. So you will get the radius equal to
8.71 exponent negative
0.71 exponent negative
3.
3. Okay, semua dapat 8.71 exponent negative 3 ataupun you can leave your answer as 0.71 0.0871 meter. Okay, benda yang sama as long as kamu dapat jawapan yang sama lah. Okay, next one. For the next ion, bila kita ada satu proton saja. So you just use this one, tidak perlu darab dengan 2 atau 3 sebab ada satu proton sahaja. 1.672 exponent negative 27 times with 1.25 exponent 5 divided by 0.3 darab dengan 1.6 exponent negative 90. So radius will be equal to 0.04355 meter.
Miss, macam salah tu yang
Yang mana?
ano tu? Yang 8.71.
Berapa jawapan dia?
Satu 1.8.
1.8. You sure? Sekejap, let me
Miss,
672 exponent negatif 27. Exponent 5. 3 darab dengan 1.6 exponent negatif 19. Betul lah kan? Miss Kira betul pula? 8.7
Betul, Miss.
exponent negatif 3.
Ya, Miss, betul.
Betul kan?
Betul Miss. Saya kena prank Miss.
Kenapa prank? Salah tekan kalkulator tu. Okay, jawapan sini dia bagi dalam sentimeter. It's actually in meter. 8 point... Oh, betul lah juga sebenarnya. Okay, never mind. Okay, make sure this one lah kamu dapat semua. And then it is in
Dapat.
meter. Okay, ada soalan?
so far jelas, Miss.
So far jelas. Okay, so basically apa yang kamu perlu tahu is just how to use the formula only. Itu je. Okay, as long as you know how to use the formula, then hopefully semuanya dapat jawablah soalan tu. And since soalan ni, chapter ni pun tidak masuk dalam exam, so maksudnya formula yang kita gunakan ada mostly formula yang kita gunakan dalam chapter 4 ni kita tidak akan gunakan lagi. Kita hanya gunakan dalam assignment sahaja. So soalan assignment, I'm not sure bila dia akan release. Miss pun belum ada, belum dibagi tahu. Dan Miss pun belum tengok lagi soalan assignment tu, adakah dia susah atau tidak. But hopefully senanglah sebab assignment ni usually untuk membantu kamu score markah yang penuh. And sama juga dengan semester 1, assignment is contributes 10% to your PB marks. Okay, so kita sudah habis chapter 4. I know Miss cover cepat kan chapter 4 ni sebab satu benda ni sebenarnya benda yang berulang je. Kita just, dia ada banyak subtopik actually. Sebab setiap subtopik tu sangat ringkas, that's why Miss boleh cover dengan cepat. Okay, apa lagi tadi Miss mau cakap? Oh, your UPS, markah UPS. Okay, untuk SEM ni, Miss dibagi tahu markah UPS kamu boleh dapat lah exactly markah tu berapa. Yang kalau kamu dapat 14 memang dapat 14 lah. SEM lepas kan kamu just dibagi grade sahaja. Okay, so nanti lepas ni Miss akan release markah UPS. Nanti kamu check email kamu, email yang kamu gunakan untuk isi, untuk jawab UPS yang hari tu. Which is email MOE lah kan semua. So nanti Miss akan release, try check kalau ada markah tu dekat situ. Markah tu dia memang bagi melalui email I think. Miss tak akan bagi melalui GC lah sebab Miss kena key in satu-satu. Tapi kalau email dia automatic. So nanti lepas ni I will try to do that and then nanti Miss bagi tahu dan kamu check lah markah UPS. Okay, so untuk chapter 4 you don't need to do the tutorial. Tutorial tu kamu tak perlu buat pun. Tapi Miss ada upload, nanti Miss upload dia punya skema jawapan. Siapa yang mau cuba buat, boleh cuba buat. So esok kita akan masuk chapter 5 ya. Memang terus masuklah chapter 5. We don't want to waste any time. Esok masuk chapter 5, Miss akan bagi video. So besok tiada Google Meet. Okay. Any last question before I end the class today?
No question, Miss.
Tiada. Yang lain ni semua senyap je.
No question,
No
Miss.
question, Miss.
No question, Miss.
Okay, kalau tiada soalan, I guess that's all for today. Okay, esok Miss akan bagi video je ya. Okay, thank you semua.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss.
Miss.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss. Have a nice day.
You too. Have a nice day.